In this beginning Photoshop tutorial, we're going to learn how to open files, make selections using the marquee, magic wand, quick selection, lasso, and color range tools. We're going to learn how to combine elements using layers and the copy and paste function. We're going to learn how to adjust those elements and make them look like they fit put together. And lastly, we're going to add text. To begin with, we'll open up Photoshop. I'm going to go to File, Open. The assets we're going to use are in a folder called World Hands. I'm going to click on the first item in the folder, hold down the Shift key, click on the fourth, and open all four at once. Now we're only using 3 of the assets. You can select which world view that you want, but you'll notice that right now we only see one image, but I can toggle between all of the images by clicking on their titles at the top of this window. One's missing. You'll see this little double arrow if that's the case, and the European Southern Observatory is hiding behind the double arrow. We're going to use our handful of water image as our base image, so I'm going to click off the lock in the layers window here and double click on layer 0 and type in the word hands. It's always good to label your layers so you know which one is which. Now before we do anything else, I also want to bring in my background, which is going to be the star field. So we're going to select all, edit, copy, come over to the handful of water, edit, paste. Now it's too small, so what we're going to do is hold down Command T. We're just going to drag it to the full size of this file. Now because I've made that transition, I'm going to have to hit Enter to make it stay. I'm now going to go over to my layers window again where it says layer 1. I'm going to double click and type in star field. I'm now going to drag this down to the bottom. So it's my background. What I need to do is select the hands layer, which is this one here, and I need to select this back area and eliminate it so that we can see the star field behind. Now the best way to select an area where most of the color is the same is to use the color range tool, and using the eyedropper here and clicking, I can hold down the Shift key and select all of the black area. When I hit OK, it does an excellent job of selecting all of the black area or most of it and a little bit of the hands too. So let's zoom into the hands where too much of this selection has been made. I'm going to select the lasso tool. I'm going to hold down the Alt key. You'll notice that a minus appears, and that allows me to draw around the areas that I want to eliminate from the selection. Those are those areas there. You'll also notice that there are some areas where it's taken not enough, and we need to add to our selection. So if I back up here, you'll notice that there are some dancing ants around here that need to be added to the selection. So we're going to again take the lasso tool. This time we're going to hold down the Shift key. Whenever we're doing something we already have a selection, you have to hold down the Shift key, otherwise it won't add to the selection. It'll just select that one small thing that you're taking. You'll also notice up here at the top that there are some areas that haven't been selected. That wouldn't be easy to do with my lasso tool, so I'm going to use my magic wand tool. Again, hold down the Shift key and add that selection that way, and you'll notice that it does a pretty good job selecting everything except for one little dot. So now I have an excellent selection of the area, the black area around the hands. If I hold down the Command 0, I can make sure that everything looks completely clean. I'm holding down the Shift key and I'm adding a little bit more to my selection. That looks pretty good. Now what I can do is simply select Delete, and the star field appears behind my image. I can hold down the Command D to get rid of the dancing ants, and already it looks like my background is going to work quite well with my star field. What I'd like to do now though, and I think you can guess, is to put the world into these cupped hands. So I'm going to select the Eastern Hemisphere, and the first thing I have to do is select this area around the world so that I can copy and paste it. Now the color range selection tool won't work because there's too much dark tones right next to the edge of this element here. So we're going to use the marquee tool and the elliptical marquee tool. What this will allow me to do is select a perfect circle. Now, if I hold down the Shift key, it constrains me to a perfect circle. And if I hold down the Shift and the Alt key, it allows me to draw that circle from the middle. So I'm going to estimate where the circle is. I'm holding down the Alt and the Shift key. I'm going to drag out that image till it's pretty close. I'm going to estimate because that wasn't exactly the center. I'm going to let go, and I'm then going to use my arrow keys to nudge the selection to where it should be. And then I'm going to edit, copy, and we're going to go back to the hand. Now that we have our hands and our star field, we're going to select an area into which to put the world. So I'm going to zoom in a little, make sure I can see the top of the image and the hands. I'm going to use my lasso tool to select an area into which I think the world would fit. So what we need to do is take a very careful drawing around the fingers, and you must forgive me here, I'm using a touchpad. I think it would be easier with a mouse. I'm drawing around the edge of these fingers and the hand because I think that's where the world will fit. Also drawing a big area around the back part where I think the world will fit. So we've already selected the world. Edit, paste special, paste into, and there's our world. Now the only difference, the reason why I think this doesn't quite fit in is you'll notice that the light comes from the top area here for the hands, but it comes from the side for the world. So we're now going to hold down the Command T, which is transform, and you'll notice that when I move outside of the box, a little curved arrow appears. I'm going to hold down my mouse button and turn this world around so that the shadow is kind of coming from the same place that the shadow on the hands comes from. And I'm going to hit return to settle that in. I'm now going to hold down Command 0 so I can see what the whole thing looks like. And although it looks pretty good, I feel as though it doesn't quite all fit together. They still look like elements that have been kind of copied and pasted. So let's start with our background. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Levels, and I'm going to take this down a few tones so that it looks a little bit more like a real star field. Just move that gray arrow to the right, hit OK, and things are a little darker there. I'm going to do the same with the hands. I'm going to hold down Image, Adjustments, Levels, and again, take this middle tone, make things a little bit darker. I'm then going to do the same thing to the world. Now, if I want to do that to the world and I want to use a quick key, Command L will bring up the same. We'll make the world a little darker too. So now we have an image of somebody's hands holding the world. Well, let's think of the type of message we want to give here. And if we wanted to be more explicit about our message, we might want to add some text. So we can draw a text window and type in a message. I think I'd like to start off with my text being pretty big. And right now I'm typing with black, so that's not a very good color to work with. Let's work with a text color here. I'm going to cancel. The text color is up here. Shall we use a green? Use my move tool up here. I think what I'm going to do is take a number of different text boxes. Or areas. And do it that way. When I want to shift or move something, I have to be in that layer to be able to shift it, and I have to have the Move tool selected. And you'll see that there are a lot of guides that are helping me place this where I'd like it to be. Get back into your hands. Move that in line with that. And go back to my text tool and add space here so that it comes in line with the in. And there we have it.